Hey everybody, it's
Hey
me,
guys.
Will.
And me, Kristen.
We're back. We're doing another live episode of Guide to the Unknown.
Guide.
If you're watching this, it's either live right this second or you're watching it later on. You're seeing the entire live stream, which means you can go check out the finished episode. If you have to dip out at any point, the show that we're recording right now is going to be out on all major podcast apps on Friday.
That's right.
Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum.
Boom, boom.
As always, we're going to take a couple seconds here at the top to make sure that everybody's able to get in, get settled, get comfortable, grab a drink.
Yep.
Tell
Grab a
us
beverage.
if you can both see and hear us. That's a very necessary
see me.
step of live streaming.
You all hear me. No one's here.
Yeah. And I'll count on the three of you to help me round the rest of these up. Pesky, pixie, pestronomy.
Just nip them back into their cage.
It is funny that he's like, pesky, pixie, pestronomy.
He's so happy. He's like, this will take
And
care of it.
whips the wand out of his hand. So was that not a spell?
Interesting. Maybe not.
You know?
Maybe it was like one of his special like Gilderoy spells or whatever. Hey, Drew.
Hey. You know, like when Ron goes like, sunshine, daisies, butter, mellow, turn this stupid fat rat yellow.
Yeah.
And it's not a spell.
Yeah, maybe Gilderoy is doing a Gilderoy original.
He
It's
thought
not
pesky,
working.
pixie, pestronomy was a
Yeah.
spell, and it's not.
Probably.
Derned
His
fool.
Cockiness.
Yeah.
Hey, Miss Sweetie.
Hey, Miss Sweetie.
Good name.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody?
Yeah.
We're going to be getting started. Oh, sharing.
Yes, that's right.
I was trying to think of, like, there's usually something we do.
Yeah. My phone battery is very low, so can we do all the sharing from your
Yeah,
thing?
of course.
Except I'll share onto my Facebook page from here. Hey, Laura.
You'd better.
I will.
Hey, Laura. Yeah, and then we'll get the show started.
Yeah. What's going on with you guys? Hey, Tracy.
Yeah, what have you been up to in the intervening week? Allie and
What
I
are you doing
watched episode 1 of True Crime Season 3 last night.
Oh, True Detective?
True, yeah, True Detective.
What'd you think?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought.
I'm really into it.
I thought to
Oh,
start,
hey, Christy.
I didn't know quite what to make of it.
Yeah.
And then as it continued going, and he like goes into the woods and he finds weird little dolls, I was like, this is exactly what I want.
Yeah, it's really good. It's definitely more. Did you watch season 2?
No, I didn't
Yeah.
bother.
I think that's fine. It feels much more like season 1.
Oh,
To
without
the
a
point where
doubt.
people are doing that thing, which I understand, but also whatever, where they're, I mean, not too many people. I think people generally like it, but people have been like, oh, they're just like aping season 1. But like, that's what we
That's
wanted.
fine.
We didn't like season 2.
That's the show we like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they know that. Like the show
Yeah.
did not do well
Right.
in its
So
second
like,
season.
give us
Yeah.
what we want. Like with Ghostbusters. I have a feeling that's what's going to happen.
Really?
Yeah, I feel good about it. I also really like that it's his son. I think that's really cool and nice.
I think it's cool from a legacy perspective.
Yes.
I wonder if there's going to be a hidden relationship story. I wonder if
Why?
Dan Aykroyd's it's going to turn out that one of the kids in the movie is Dan Aykroyd's son, or Oscar from Ghostbusters 2 is going to be in it.
Well, you're just basing that totally on that just as, you know.
Well, did you hear the plot synopsis?
No.
Okay.
So maybe you're basing it on more.
I have a little bit
Yeah.
more. It's not. It doesn't necessarily mean that much more, but
Yeah.
it's about 4 teenagers.
Oh, where did you see? I didn't see that. All I saw was the teaser with like no info except Ivan Reitman being like, "I love Ghostbusters."
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, that's what I saw. I don't know if it's true or false.
Yeah.
But that is what I
Huh.
saw.
Interesting. I bet it'll be Stranger Thingsy.
Yeah. Is the screen flickering?
Is the screen flickering for you guys? It was just flickering for us. Let me see what you guys are doing. Christy, you're catching ghosts on your security camera? That's crazy. Did you guys see that story today? I think it came out today about the woman who her Nest caught a picture of a ghost and sent it to her, if we're to believe it. Laura's working on
Nest?
Hunt a Killer. That's awesome.
Nice. Hunt a Killer right this second is doing an AMA.
Yeah. They're not for everybody though. It's only if you bought a certain package. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
so I
like
shouldn't
an
have said
exclusive
that?
bonus. You could say it, but not everybody has access to it. If you're one of the people who bought one of the Black Friday packages, then you'll have received in email or in your box something about this AMA that's tonight. So check it out. Let's see. Yeah, it's flickering. Yep. And Michelle said that it's a little lower video quality than normal.
Lower video quality.
Yeah.
It looks
Yeah.
good on our end.
Oh, Christy, you posted the video. All right, cool. I'll have to look.
The flickering I find weird. The flickering is not great. I don't know. I'm going to turn the camera off and on.
Okay.
And back on. Hello again.
Hello. Let's see.
I feel like that's not going to do anything, but it's worthwhile as a first try.
Yeah.
We are live. All right, now let's jump over to Instagram.
Yep.
Bingo, bango. At GTTU pod across the board.
Yep.
Everybody.
I've been I hadn't been sharing stuff really, just time wise, but I've found a way to make it work time wise. So I'm sharing cool links and stuff again.
Nice. Oh, wrong page. Here we go. Here we go. How do you do things?
Go. You gotta go back home.
Oh,
that works.
That's
okay.
fine. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Hey everybody, we're recording a live episode of Guide to the Unknown right now on youtube.com/talkbomb. Come hang out with us, join the chat, talk with other listeners and viewers. You get to enjoy the show a little bit early.
Yeah, have a whole experience. Make a night of it. Come on. Why not? What's it worth to you? Why don't you
That's great. That was great.
Thank you.
Done, and I'll post a thing on Twitter.
Cool.
And then away we go. Is the screen
Did
still
you share
flickering?
it? Is the screen still flickering, guys? Is there any weirdness? Did you share the link on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay. I'll do that real quick.
Not in the group, though.
Yeah.
Just on the page. I'm off book. I'm on page.
Wow, look at you.
I know. I'm prepared. I'm very much not off book on my notes, I will say. My topic is
I'm decently off book on this.
complicated.
Oh, mine's simple.
Mine is technical.
I'm excited for mine.
We
It's
have
really weird.
diametrically opposed things.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. All right. No flicker since off and on. Great.
Oh, good.
Thank you,
good.
Laura. Thank you very
you.
much. Yeah, then I think I'm good when you are.
All right.
I believe.
Jump in, jump out.
And yeah, for the record, new Ghostbusters? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Ghostbusters. I just feel like it's so fraught with controversy.
It does feel. I saw your comment. I do agree that it feels soon.
Yeah.
It feels very soon.
It feels very soon. It feels like the wrong thing to erase the last movie.
Yeah, if that part of it feels weird to me. Like I saw Ivan Reitman commenting and being like very complimentary of the last movie and everything, but still just the action of it is strange. We're just pretending that didn't happen.
Own it, improve it, make it all work.
I know. I don't know what you would do though, because I like the idea of own it, improve it, make it all work, but at the same time, I prefer a clean start. I prefer that.
This isn't a clean start.
Well, but
This is Dan Aykroyd's My Grandpa. That's what the movie is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I prefer from just an entertainment standpoint, I'm fine leaving the world of those ladies. Like I like the previous Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
But then just from like an actual person in the world standpoint, it feels weird. But as far as just like what I want to see, just make a direct sequel. That's what I want.
Yeah, I don't know. Even the teaser didn't feel like it didn't feel like Ghostbusters.
It didn't feel like anything to me. It felt whatever. Reading what he said made me feel excited.
You know, I think what it is for me is that it's fine that there's another movie coming, even that it's like erasing the last movie, which I think that they should have figured out how to keep. But okay, they're erasing the last movie because so many people were so vocal about it.
Well, you could say it's not even erasing it. It's just not continuing on with that thing. You know what I mean? It's
You
not
could
like
say, but that's like splitting hairs.
Well, but like it's not like
We're
there's
gonna ignore it,
be a line.
and it's not.
No, but it's not like there's gonna be a line where they're like cheekily like, "Huh, remember that bad dream we had?"
Sure.
They're just not. You know, I don't feel like it's erasing it necessarily.
Yeah, but all that news is fine. And that came out yesterday, and then today they released that little teaser where I'm like, film. They already shot like little bits of test footage, and they're putting it out publicly for a movie that hasn't even started filming yet.
I know that part is definitely weird to me. I also don't love.
They're gonna make me sick of Ghostbusters before the movie's even in theaters because there's gonna be random footage of it all over the place.
That's what I was about to say. What he said was that he wants to, and also this analogy doesn't work or whatever you call it. He said he wants to keep unwrapping it like a Christmas present. Like he's gonna keep like dribbling out like little things. And I was like, well, number one, I don't like that idea because the exact same thing. I'm gonna get sick of it by the time it comes out.
Yeah.
And number two, like that's not how Christmas presents work. Unless you're wrapping the paper in more wrapping paper, so you have to keep unwrapping
Which
it.
people hate. That's a prank.
Yeah, that is a prank. That's not
Yeah, or when you like sit around peeling onions all night.
like that.
And by the end, you're covered in tears.
You know how much everybody likes that?
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing seems Not great
see.
to me.
Karen wouldn't even start the show.
No, show has not officially begun yet.
You're all good. We're starting a little bit late.
Yeah.
And we have some 3-sentence horror stories from Eric.
Oh,
And he
sweet.
says we're not obligated to read any of these, but we definitely will.
3-sentence horror stories?
Yes, he wrote 3-sentence horror stories.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. And okay.
Or
I'm with that.
maybe I'm saying it wrong. 3 2-sentence horror stories. Sorry.
Okay. I was gonna say.
Right? Those two.
Well, whatever. We're always gonna call it
I'm not
2-sentence
sure.
horror stories. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay. I think I'm good if you are.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Sweet. Yeah. In
Okay.
your own good time. Kristen.
Okay. Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
I'm William.
I'm gonna scare you. I'm gonna thrill you. I'm gonna chill you. I'm gonna put a little boogie in your noogie.
I'm gonna
What are you
sit
gonna
here.
do?
I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna kick back and have a good time.
Just come along for the ride.
That's right. I'm
Yeah.
a good time Willie tonight.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we have a few 2-sentence horror stories from Eric, our 2-sentence horror maestro. William, if you please.
Yeah, I'm not sure what words you just said, but sure. All right. 2-sentence horror stories.
Yep.
Standing, staring out the window into the night, I reminded myself that moving out to the countryside had been the best thing for my writing. The improved sails backed me up, but as I watched more figures slip from the shadows to join the first at the forest edge, doubt began to creep in.
Ooh.
Oh, lurking demons.
I don't love things lurking at a forest's edge.
Lurking. Another story.
Yeah.
The last of the cleanup done, she noticed the coat hanging by the door and made a mental note to return it to Rajam the next day, then went to get ready for bed. As she sat reading, her mind replayed moments from the party, and it wasn't until she heard the leathery sound of wings through the door that she remembered. He was wearing his coat when he left.
Ooh. Oh boy.
Yeah. These are like
Yeah.
of like a more complex level.
Yes, these are thinkers.
Yeah, they are thinkers.
Yeah.
And then the third and final. It was the perfect night to watch Gttu. Good friends, a storm outside, even an old skeletal-looking branch scraping against the window. And Danica offered a grin. Don't ever trim that tree. Blinking, Becky followed Danica's motion. What tree? She began, but cut off as the tips of the elongated hand-like limb began to slip around the edge of the window, pulling it open.
Ooh. That's okay. There are a few things scary there.
Yeah.
A skeletal hand is always scary. That's a huge hand.
That's a big hand. A big
What is that
tree-sized
attached to?
hand.
Yeah.
It's a tree monster. That's like a Blair Witch 2016.
Yeah,
It's that
yeah.
elongated,
Yeah.
lanky monster clomping around.
Or like, what the hell do you call it? A Wendigo.
A Wendigo. Yeah. Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Very good.
Awesome.
Very
Thank
good
you, Eric.
indeed. Thank you, Eric.
Very good indeed.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Topics?
Yeah, topics. Who, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Let me go first.
Yeah, yours is very dense, you're saying. So why don't you get it out of the way and then I'll lighten things up.
Maybe. Yeah. And it's a little bit topical.
Okay, great.
I, like many people out there, are very excited for M. Night Shyamalan's new
Oh,
movie,
Yeah, okay, so what are you doing?
Glass.
I'm really excited about it.
For people who are unfamiliar, in the year
To the uninitiated.
in the year 2000, M. Night Shyamalan made a movie called Unbreakable, and it was essentially about Bruce Willis playing a character named David Dunn. He's the sole survivor of a train crash, and he meets a strange fellow played by Samuel L. Jackson, who insists that this means that Bruce Willis is a superhero. He is unbreakable. He cannot be hurt. His bones don't break, which is in direct contrast to Samuel L. Jackson's condition, which renders him incredibly vulnerable to fractures. It was a superhero movie before superhero movies were huge.
Yeah.
I think it was even before X-Men.
I'm always surprised at how old that movie is.
I know.
Yeah.
And it was originally planned to be the first of a trilogy. Those plans fell apart when the movie did not do well. However, a couple of years ago, M. Night Shyamalan made another movie called Split, which was about a guy with split personalities. He's got like 23 different personalities, all residing in one body. And people found out that that was a secret sequel to Unbreakable.
Yeah. So cool. Like the whole movie, there's nothing that ties it to Unbreakable at all.
No.
It totally feels like a standalone thing. And then just the last part, it's like So I don't totally remember. Somebody's like in a diner or something, and there's something
Yeah.
about the guy on the news or the crimes or whatever, and it's David Dunn just like looking up at the TV, and you're like, ah!
Oh, David Dunn, we're in the
Yeah.
Unbreakable world.
And the soundtrack from Unbreakable plays.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
and that theme is so
I
good.
can't imagine how excited, because I already knew it had been spoiled for.
It had been spoiled for me too.
I'm frequently spoiled with sweet
Same,
things, but
yeah.
I can't imagine how sweet that must have been to be just watching Split, and then you're like, huh, huh, huh.
Yeah. I remember watching it and being excited because I knew that it was coming because it had been spoiled for me.
Yeah.
But then, as I was paying attention, I was like, "Ooh, this is weird." They're watching the news of the guy with the 23 personalities, and then someone literally says in the diner, they're like, "This reminds me of that guy with the brittle bones. He was like a supervillain, but in real life." What was it? He wore purple all the time and was played by Samuel L. Jackson. What was his name?
And did Bruce Willis turn with teeny weeny lips and be like, Mr. Glass?
His name's Glass. I was like, oh, that's on the nose, but okay.
Fine.
So anyway.
There's also a big spoiler in the trailer for the upcoming Glass 2 Split. Like, it spoils a big thing in Split.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, like, I don't know if I should say.
Oh,
but
don't say it.
Okay.
Yeah, because yeah.
I mean, it's in the trailer.
We've already
it's
just
not,
spoiled
I'm not
a bunch
going
of
to.
stuff, but I think all the stuff that we've said is pretty common knowledge now in Primacy.
I think so.
So yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'll tell you later.
But either way, Glass is coming out. It is now apparently the third in this unlikely franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Allie and I have tickets to see it tomorrow night.
Oh,
I got them
nice.
as soon as they were available.
Yeah, Ryan and I are really stoked to see it.
I'm very excited for it. But it got me thinking,
Mm-hmm.
Kristen, because these things are all exaggerations of real life conditions.
Yeah.
So, according to M. Night Shyamalan, what are these other superpowers that exist in real life? So I'm going to tell you about superhumans that live among us.
Oh, awesome. I've watched some TV shows about this.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And so we'll go through one by one so far with our main characters from this trilogy of movies. Let's start
Cool.
with David Dunn, the Unbreakable Man,
Yeah.
who is impervious to pain. He does not get sick. He has super strength, and his main primary weakness is water.
Mm-hmm.
We see in the movie Unbreakable.
I forgot that.
Yeah, he
That's why
almost
wears poncho.
he wears a poncho to keep the rain away.
Ah.
He falls in a pool and he gets tangled in the pool cover, which is one of the most like agonizing scenes in any movie. Just
I
makes you gulp for breath as you're watching it.
Maybe I should rewatch Unbreakable. I really don't remember it super
Oh,
well.
you should absolutely rewatch it.
I
It's a
remember
great
really
movie.
liking it,
Yeah.
but I didn't remember that. Okay.
Yeah. So that condition of being unbreakable, quote unquote, is essentially something that happens in real life when you have a mutation of the LRP5 gene.
Mm-hmm.
This is the gene that is linked to osteoporosis and low bone density, but essentially it's the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Some people have incredibly high bone density.
Yeah.
And this can mean that their bones are essentially almost unbreakable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy how it was discovered. In 1994, a man who's known only to me as John, I don't believe that's his real name, was in a car accident. He was completely uninjured, totally unharmed. When they did an x-ray, they saw that he had shockingly high bone density. His bones are just like really thick and strong. Separately, there was a man who needed to get a hip replacement, but they could not screw the prosthesis
God.
into his existing bones.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
The doctors of those two cases managed to get in contact with each other and found out that those two men were related.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts. In your research, did you come across an episode of the show In Search Of, the remake of it with Zachary Quinto or something?
No.
So there was a remake of it. It was a Leonard Nimoy show from the 80s. And there was an episode, I think it was the first episode, that was about superhumans or superhuman strength.
Oh, is that
And-
right?
Yeah, and I don't remember it's like super specifically, but one of the men it was something involving a car. I think that either he himself was in a car that was burning and he was able to get out and like push through something that was like melted shut or something, or he pulled over and saw somebody who was in a car that was burning and he was able, I know this is annoying because it's really like non-specific, he either picked up the car, or he was able to like pull open a door that was like insanely jammed where you wouldn't be able to do it. And he was just like a totally normal guy outwardly, like in like normal shape, but nothing crazy.
Sure.
So there was that. And then he spoke to, I don't remember what kind of like, I don't know if you'd say branch, but what school of monk this was, but basically talked to and did tests with a monk who like trained like crazy. And for all I know, everybody who he worked with was doing this, like trained like crazy to be pretty impervious to pain. So it was the kind of thing where you see on TV or whatever with like a guy like breaking something out.
Like mind over matter, though.
Major mind over matter. So they ended up doing tests with that guy in an MRI machine where he went to one machine and Zachary Quinto went to another machine, and they both meditated.
Switched bodies. Yeah. Like the Fly. They like teleported and metamorphosed into one.
Well, no, so the guy was like, it's mostly meditation, just like focus, and also build. I don't know if he was talking about building up cheer. And I might be wrong. Definitely meditation. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Just meditation and focus and mind over mattering it. And Zachary Quinto is somebody who meditates, but kind of casually, not like on a monk level or whatever. So they put them in both MRI machines or something.
Not like Adrian Monk.
That's an obsessive level of meditation.
Yeah.
So put them in MRI machines, and I think it was that they put both of their hands in water that was so cold it would be painful.
So what happened was Zachary Quinto meditated for so long he fell asleep. And then they put his hand in a bowl of warm water.
And saw whether through sheer will he could not pee his pants or not. No, they put their hands in water that was so cold to be super painful. And then they measured, maybe it was an MRI machine, it was something, but they measured their pain receptors, like whatever is going on in your body that's recognizing pain, or the pain in your brain or something, and measured of both dudes to see what the difference was. And I believe the result was, unsurprisingly, the monks showed much less, pain things zinging off.
Yeah.
And I think they didn't really figure out what was the deal with the guy who was able to like save somebody from a burning car.
Well, there are stories of people that suddenly, because of adrenaline, have essentially super strength, like mothers that lift the cars off their babies, stuff like that.
I think that was kind of the conclusion they came to. They did some tests with that guy again to see if he could do, or how close he could come to similar conditions or whatever without the pressure of whatever the situation was, and he like didn't even come close. So I think their conclusion was that it was just like crazy adrenaline.
Yeah, you need the fear, like Dark Knight Rises.
Exactly.
If you want to climb that wall and jump that gap,
you got to take that rope off.
Take the rope off. You need the fear.
And then they also had a guy who had a condition where he didn't feel pain. It was like a nerve thing or something. And
I'll be getting into that a little bit later.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. But this high bone density thing, not only does it mean that your bones don't break, it means that you have a harder time swimming.
Yeah.
You might not be as buoyant as the average person.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So David Dunn from Unbreakable, super strong, impervious to his bones breaking at all, and his weakness is water. He might have a mutation of the LRP5 gene.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's great. That must be kind of like not an Easter egg, but an unspoken thing. I feel like that had to have been talked about in the
and it's an exaggeration of real life, right? Yeah. Like it's a real life thing that I think in the movie, to be fair,
they reference it, right, in the movie, like a high bone density thing.
No, I think that I'm not sure. I didn't go back to like the quotes or anything. I think Mr. Glass, I think Samuel L. Jackson does say his condition. I'm not sure what he says, if he says what I have here, but he says like maybe Bruce Willis is on the opposite side of the spectrum from that. Like his are super weak, Bruce Willis's bones are super strong.
Yeah.
So like they do talk about real life conditions like that, but I think the movie, there's genuinely paranormal things that happen in that film.
Right.
So he's not just some dude. But but yeah, I mean all these stories, like even superhero stories. Like I'll just jump ahead a little bit.
Sure.
There's like another condition that I'm going to talk about called, actually the one you just mentioned, the inability to feel pain. It's called congenital analgesia. And these two things combined, the mutation of the LRP5 gene and congenital analgesia, unbreakable bones and the inability to feel pain, is essentially every superhero from comic books. You know what I mean?
Do people have that in real life?
What do you mean?
Are there people who have analgesia and
well, it's not impossible. I don't have a Venn diagram of all the people that have these.
No, I was just curious if you came across any cases of people who have that.
But like that is in like fictional storytelling, just like exaggerated versions of things that happen in real life. You know, like metaphorical.
Totally. Metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically speaking. But it's interesting. It's just it's wild that this
Yeah.
exists. I think a lot of these things. I say superhuman, and I'm putting that in big like italics. You know, because I think a lot of these things end up being most of them end up being incredibly problematic for the people that have them.
Yeah.
You know, so like
Yeah.
I don't even want to be like silly and tongue-in-cheek about saying that these are superpowers. Like
No, the
some of
guy
these
who-
suck. They're mutations of like human genes that have a lot of bad effects.
Yeah, there
too.
are other consequences. Yeah,
Right.
that guy who couldn't feel pain, like before they realized what was going on with him when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Like he hurt himself constantly.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of kids that don't feel pain end up covered in burns.
Right. Like he didn't feel, when I say he hurt himself, he didn't feel the hurt, but like
Oh,
he
sure.
was injuring himself
Yeah.
without realizing.
Yeah, they might have infections that they don't know that they have because pain is a
It's a
survival
warning. Yeah.
response, right? Like if you put your hand on a hot stove, reflexively you take your hand off of it. It's not a thing you have to think about. If you don't feel pain, you put your hand on a hot stove, you're
You
not
just
even
leave
thinking
it.
about it. And then even if you look at it, you're like, oh, right. And all that time that your hand's been on the stove, you've done extra damage.
Right.
A lot of kids with that condition die young.
Yeah.
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 It's as easy as it is to boil down to like, oh, what a crazy thing to not feel pain. It's actually insanely problematic.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. So Mr. Glass having bones of glass.
Yeah.
That's called osteogenesis imperfecta, also known as brittle bone disease. 1 in 15,000 people has it, which
Wow.
is shocking.
Yeah.
But there's, again, a spectrum. So some kinds are worse than others. Some kinds are better than others. I don't know. Depends on how you want to look at it.
Remember that lady on 30 Rock who said that her bones were hollow like a bird's?
Yeah, because she has a hollow bone.
She introduced herself to that every time. She'd be like, "We've met before. My bones are hollow like a bird's." And they're
Yeah,
like,
I
"Oh,
remember you."
Yes, yeah.
Yep, I remember. Careful of my bones. She says at one
Yeah.
point. Yeah, she's played by.
It's not Emily Mortimer. It's another British Emily.
I'm pretty sure it is Emily Mortimer because she was in Scream 3.
Oh,
I was
who's
very
the-
happy about it.
Okay, who's the Emily who's in Red Dragon then?
Emily. Is that an Emily?
I think it is.
I don't know.
Because I thought that was Emily Mortimer. Hold on a second.
Oh, no, I don't think
Red
so.
Dragon.
Red Dragon Lady.
Emily.
Yeah. Whatever. Whoever
You-
that
you
is.
good.
Yeah. So some other symptoms rather than your bones being especially
Emily
brittle.
Watson. Excuse me.
Emily Watson.
Yeah.
There's a blue tinge to the whites of your eyes if you have this condition. Sometimes you may have a short height, loose joints, hearing loss, and some of the ways that they may treat this is inserting metal rods into the long bones of your body. So like your leg bones, anything to essentially strengthen them so that they
Yeah.
can't break.
Yeah.
And I found out that Michael J. Anderson from Twin Peaks
Oh.
has this osteogenesis imperfecta.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of times it causes your bones to, I think, grow incorrectly because the pressure on them, even if it's not breaking them, is making them bend.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just
wow.
like, yeah, it's.
Doesn't cause you to say horrible racist things, does it?
In him it did.
Yeah.
I don't know, or something else he was doing.
Yeah.
Um,
Can't blame that.
yeah. All right. The movie Split.
Mm-hmm.
The main character of that movie, Kevin Wendell Crumb, has a bunch of different personalities. One of which is the Beast, which is able to like climb up walls and
Right.
super strong, impervious to pain. Which all those things might be unbreakable.
Right.
So it might just be that on top of that,
Oh.
he also has dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, that, by the way, is the thing that I was saying that's kind of a spoiler. Like, because in the movie Split, you don't really know if that's true. That's like a rumor among the personalities.
Right,
that
yeah.
There's something called the Beast.
Yeah.
But I had already seen all the trailers for Glass where you see him running like a gazelle, like really crazy.
Oh,
So I was-
sure.
So I was like, oh, okay, so the Beast is definitely a thing that's going to come out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. I mean, these things are in the trailer. Then
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
I'm
not,
I'm doing any bending over backward I can to make myself feel better about potentially spoiling this for people. It's in the trailer. It's fine.
I think that is real.
Okay.
It's in the trailer right now. You could say just going to see friggin' well, I was gonna say Mary Poppins Returns. They're probably not putting the trailer.
Comes out of the friggin' sky.
They're probably not putting the trailer for Glass before that. But like, if you go to any movie, then you're getting spoiled for Split. You know what I mean?
Maybe Mary
you see the
Poppins is
trailer.
in the Unbreakable verse.
I bet her bones are very light.
She gets snapped like a twig. Yeah.
She floats a lot.
Yeah. She does. She floats because we're hollow bones.
Yeah.
Like a bird.
Like a bird.
She has the hollow bone disorder
That's right.
that allows her to just float up into the sky.
That's right. Plus, she can get sucked into that bathtub drain. So they must be able to, like...
Did that happen?
I don't know. It's in I haven't seen it yet. It's in the trailer where she's like, "Let's go," and
Oh,
then
she
falls into the
flops into
bathtub.
the water. Like,
Yeah.
she's gone. She's not in here.
I think she goes down the bathtub drain, so if her bones are
Call the
so-
police. So you're
So
trying
brittle.
to tell me last time you saw the victim, she just disappeared in the tub. That's suspicious.
right into the drain, sir.
You were the last person to see her alive.
That's right.
You're under arrest for murder.
But why? I'm just drawing me chalk drawings. I'm burnt, you see.
I'm
Just
looking-
trying to make me living.
He's resisting arrest.
But then I just jump into one of my chalk drawings, and I'm gone.
And then a cop, they're like, well,
Takes off his
officer,
hat.
now you were the last person to see Bird alive.
Yeah.
I'm a good cop, don't you understand?
And around we go.
Yeah. Where she stopped, nobody know. Alright. So anyway, this is not the superpower, I think, of Split, but I'm just going to go into it because it's probably something it's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Dissociative identity disorder, also known as multiple personality disorder. It's highly controversial.
Yes.
There are a lot of people who say that this is a completely real thing, that you can have multiple personalities all residing in one body that show up at different times due to stress, something like that. It might be caused by childhood trauma. There are a lot of people who say that it is not real and that it was a misdiagnosis, sometimes a hoax, and it might have had something to do with the fad of using hypnosis in therapy. For a while of just being like, I'll put you under and we'll see what we can figure out here.
Oh, yeah, like regressed memories and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the biggest case of that would be Sybil. I remember they played this for us in school.
I've never seen it. I like know the reference when
Yeah.
people talk about it, but I've never seen it before.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I took a ton of psychology courses, but yeah, they played Sybil for us in school, which is like, wrong lesson.
Yeah, that's weird.
The lesson should be, look at how people will manipulate data and information, because...
Or manipulate their... Because I guess, how would I say this? Like, I wonder if... what am I trying to say? An argument for some people, and not even all people, but like, maybe there are some people who are... They're not literal personalities that are coming up, but it's a coping mechanism that
Sure.
they maybe are kind of doing subconsciously in a way.
Yeah,
So
yes,
it's kind of the
right.
same end result. You know what I mean? In a
Yeah,
way.
I guess, but
It's
like...
kind of like a way of protecting yourself in this more.
But I think
subconscious-
it's common for people to be like, yeah. No, Will is sometimes Will, and then sometimes he's Gary Bob, and Gary Bob can speak, Spanish. You know,
Yeah.
like they think that it's like literally like just different beings all in one body.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I think there are different cases of it. You know what I mean?
But in the most famous case of Sybil, it eventually came out that entire thing was fake.
Right.
The real Sybil was named Shirley A. Mason, and she later admitted that she would manifest more and more personalities because she saw how happy it made her doctor, Connie Wilbur.
Ooh.
So it started with just a couple, and then
Yeah.
as Connie Wilbur started to be like, oh my, this is incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, then
What a
suddenly more
discovery.
personalities started to show up.
Yeah.
Such as Victoria Antoinette Charlot, Peggy Lou Baldwin, Peggy Ann Baldwin, which feels
It's gotta get
like
confusing.
feels like she just forgot the middle name of one of
That
her.
does. It's really weird that the first and last are the same.
Yeah, it'd be awesome if they were all like Peggy Jane Baldwin,
Yeah, yeah.
Peggy Sarah Baldwin. But yeah, anyway, essentially there was like a financial reason why it was beneficial to keep this going, and also she was getting like constant affirmation from her doctor,
Yeah, yeah.
who was like piling all the attention on and interest and everything. So yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So those are the big three from the movies.
Yeah. There's going to be a show about dissociative identity disorder coming out on A&E
Oh, is that right?
called, like, I don't remember what it's called, something with Jane in the name, but following somebody who has that.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Coming out.
that's interesting.
Yeah. I
Very
don't know
cool.
a lot about it. It's funny that you bring it up. I did click on, I keep getting these videos or like YouTube recommendations about it, because I did click on a video about it and watch it, and it was, I guess there's kind of a whole, there are like a million different subgenres of everything, especially with like YouTube videos and vlogging and stuff. I guess there's a big community around dissociative identity disorder on YouTube, like people who have it kind of like vlogging and talking about it and like documenting and things like that.
Cool.
I don't know a whole ton about it, but that's something I just recently became aware of as like kind of a big thing.
That's interesting too, because that is one. It might be the kind of thing that like these shows for me like end up being about not just like being able to have fun and have conversations, but occasionally they're for my mental health.
Yeah, no, it seemed like it was kind of just from the one. I only watched one video, but it seemed like it was kind of like a therapeutic thing in a way for the person who was doing it.
And then two, that's giving the world more information about this condition than like just like what a doctor might see under certain situations. You know what I mean? Like
it's like documenting.
Yeah,
it's
interesting.
It seemed like also maybe for the person that they could then go look at things that they might not necessarily actually consciously remember, at least in whatever persona they're in at the moment. You know, if you have the kind of thing, because I think from what I understand, some people do kind of have memories of what was going on with the other personalities when they step forward, but some people just don't. It's just like a lost time kind of thing. Yeah. So you go back and see. The thing that I saw was like somebody who said that you could see them switch personalities or whatever, like on camera. She said that she just kind of kept the camera on because she could feel that she was about to switch, and that she has kind of like an aura. It reminded me almost of like how my dog Crumbs has epilepsy, and there's like an aura period where you can tell he like doesn't feel right before he's gonna have one. So she could kind of sense that like maybe something was coming on, and I don't remember what she said was the trigger or whatever, but she said it was like extremely slight. And I like watched the whole video. You can't really tell. Maybe if you're somebody who like followed her channel constantly, you could tell. It was really just that she was just like watching TV, and then she like asked her husband for something, and she was like, I can see that like I changed, like my voice changed a little bit there or something like that. It was interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah, that's cool. All right, so some of the other sort of interesting conditions that people have. There's a thing as being a super sleeper. This is the HDEC2 gene, whatever. I'm trying to avoid all the technical stuff because I'm not smart enough for it. But either way,
I think that's fine.
What this means is that you need half the amount of sleep.
Oh my God.
As the average person.
I have heard of that, yeah.
They can get by on just 4 hours of sleep. That's plenty.
Wow.
That's plenty.
I think some people say that they're that way,
yeah,
and they just kind of use it as a reason to like not prioritize sleep.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I need.
Yeah, that's what I did and do. Still.
You sleep more than you used to now, though, right?
I'm still delusional about the amount of sleep I need. I definitely sleep more now.
Yeah, you used to sleep like 4 hours.
I do like it, though. I do feel like 3 a.m. is like a real interesting time for me.
Because you're teetering on the edge of complete exhaustion, so your defenses are down?
I'm on the precipice, and I do some real interesting work. All right, straight up, the next one isn't a gene. This is Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay.
Who actually had his genome sequenced, and they found abnormalities that might actually have been the reason why he's still alive despite so much drug abuse.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's true.
Do you know what the abnormalities are?
No.
It's just very resilient somehow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because that guy went ham.
Oh, sure. I've seen a lot of articles that were straight up just saying, like, why is Ozzy Osbourne alive?
Yeah.
Still. Like, so many of his peers, like, died due to, like, drug abuse and things like that. And it's straight up is that he's medically different. He's built different.
I did not know that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sharon, I'm a medical anomaly.
What's that, Ozzy?
Ooh.
A lot of rough British accents.
Boy, Ozzy Osbourne had the best, worst cameo ever in a movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Was he in Ghostbusters?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was in the 2016 Ghostbusters. It's like 5 minutes.
Like way, past the time of this being a good cameo.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Way beyond.
Would you say the Osbournes went off TV in 2005?
Oh, my God.
6?
Really? Maybe.
Something like that? About a decade later, they fight a demon, and then, like, everything's finally quiet, and then they just cut to Ozzy Osbourne, and goes, Sharon!
So
I'm having flashbacks!
Oh, my God.
And it's quiet. It's so quiet in the movie and in the theater as everybody just sees what's happening.
Was it still quiet, or was I still laughing at that guy from Mad TV when he did that scream? I can't even think about it.
Kristen really laughed at one particular moment of Ghostbusters and like.
I only saw it the one time. I think they reference that this. Did they even say this guy has a scream, like a high scream or something? Did they reference that?
I think they did because they stole it from the Ghostbusters video game.
Okay, and they just say it and you kind of like forget about it. It's like a non-thing.
Yeah.
And then the guy screams like 10 minutes later, like a high-pitched, like insane scream, and it like really killed me. I really couldn't stop laughing. I remember being so happy. I was just like crying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Meanwhile, I was waiting for the laughter to start. Anyway. All right, super sprinters. Literally, their muscles are built better.
Wow.
And a lot of these people end up being like long distance runners and stuff. So like sometimes, honestly, as much as this is cool, it's also discouraging to me where it's like, not that it was ever my aspiration.
Yeah, but how come I don't have this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, or like
a shade of it.
if you have this condition, is there even a way for you to not find out you're a good runner? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like could you have this but you've just never unlocked that potential because you haven't tried to sprint?
right? Like, do we have some mutation that we just haven't figured out yet?
Oh my god. Probably. Most likely.
Yeah, I don't get it. All right,
man.
super sight is a mutation of the opsin gene in the eye. About 12% of women have this.
That's high.
It's like 1 in 10, basically.
Yeah.
The average person can see about 1 million colors. These people can see 100 million
Whoa.
colors.
What? Oh, I wish I had that. I would love that.
It feels like a fake. It feels like a fake statistic that somebody's thinking of on the fly.
Yeah, that does sound made up.
Usually, you can only see 1 million, but they can see
up to 100 million.
100 million.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Yeah, like Dwight said it.
Yeah, Allie believes that she has this, and she's taken several online tests. But I counter that declaration by saying that when we first moved into our first apartment,
I'm about to say, I remember this.
she wanted to repaint the living room because she didn't like the white.
Yeah.
She wanted it to be like a warmer white. So we went and we bought a warmer white, and I was like halfway through painting the room before I finally acknowledged to myself, like, I'm wasting my time. Like,
Yeah.
It looked like I was dipping the paint roller into a bucket of water.
Yeah.
And just rolling it on the
It was
wall.
like exactly
It was
the same.
exactly the same. And I brought it up down. She was like, no, it's different. I can see it's different.
Yeah.
And later she admitted she couldn't
Yeah.
tell.
Well, could you be having that crazy eye thing if you wear glasses? Like, could you? Are people who are seeing 100 million colors glasses wearers? You know what I mean? I would think no.
I want to say no, but I'm too dumb to know for sure because immediately it makes me go like, what's the correlation? Is it also like 12% of women wear glasses? You know what I'm saying?
Is it like the color receptors are different than
Oh,
the
it
distance
is
and
that.
everything
It is that.
receptors?
It is.
So like
yeah.
you could maybe potentially.
You've got one more cone or something like that in your eye.
Maybe that's why I like love colors so much. Maybe I have that thing and I don't even know. I'm so dazzled visually easily. I'm a very visual person.
Yeah.
I love colors. God.
Oh.
So stupid sounding.
Yeah, it does sound stupid. I just love colors.
I really do. Lord help me.
Super smellers. This is called hyperosmia.
Well, you're a super smeller, but not the way they're talking about.
And all I have
You're
for
super
this,
smelly.
I've got 2 examples. Hannibal Lecter and the entire fragrance industry.
Oh, very good.
That's all I've got.
That makes sense.
But yeah, these people can like
Yeah.
smell one part of petunia per 5 gallons of air. or
Yeah, yeah.
something. They're really good at it.
Oh, they're like really good at smelling on it.
All right, perfect recall. This is perfect memory. It's called hyperthymesia, and I wish I had this. There are only 25 confirmed cases.
Wow.
One of them is actress Mary Lou Henner from
Oh.
Taxi. She has perfect recall. But
Cool.
this is one of those things where it's a little column A, a little column B.
Mhm.
She can remember everything, but that also means all your emotional pains,
Oh, God.
right? You'd never
Yeah.
be able to leave that moment that a bully
Wow,
called you a
that's
name.
tough,
Yeah.
actually. I wouldn't want that.
You'd have to really
actually.
like train yourself to like stay out of there in your mind palace. You know, like be like,
Yeah.
don't go to 3rd grade.
Oh, my God. Especially if you're somebody who's like had any sort of like trauma in life.
Yeah.
I hope those 25 people have led fairly chill lives.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh.
And then the final one that I've got is just called eating everything. This is a guy named Monsieur Mange Tout.
Monsieur. First of all, Monsieur Longitude.
I practiced before.
Is it not Monsieur?
I practiced before.
Wait, is it actually Monsieur?
Monsieur.
It's like Monsieur, like Mr.
Monsieur.
Longitude.
Monsieur Longitude. I'm pretty sure you don't pronounce the last T.
Not Monsieur Longitude.
Bonjour.
Monsieur.
Bonjour, bonjour.
Oh my god.
Monsieur Longitude. That translates in French literally to Mr. Eats It All.
Rigatoots?
Mr. Eats All.
Mr. Eats.
Mr. Eats It All is better. Mr. Eats It All.
Sounds like a weird kid's toy.
This guy, true to the name, he eats it all. You name it, he ate it. Glass, rubber,
Oh
metal.
god, that kind of thing. I gotcha. Oh.
He ate an entire airplane.
What?
He ate an entire airplane. Everybody Google Monsieur Longitude.
Not Monsieur.
Monsieur.
Wait. So is this guy's like job now? Like he's found a way to like dine out on this?
I have to
superpower?
imagine the airplane thing.
Right? This had to be a spectacle.
It had to have been. It took him 2 years.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was in the sky and he
Does he like
got
it?
a bit peckish.
Does he like it?
I guess.
Is it tasty?
Listen, if you're going to get to the point where you're eating the whole airplane, you'd better like it.
Yeah, I guess so.
He has a condition called pica,
Uh-huh.
which is a disorder that gives you an appetite for stuff you shouldn't be eating.
I've seen that in connection with dogs and dogs eating paper, like Mr. Crumb.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do you think Crumbs has pica?
Yes.
I think he just has an appetite.
Yes, I do think he has. I think it's pronounced Pika, but
Pica?
yeah.
This guy, Monsieur Longitude, also has an abnormally. That's such a funny name. That's such a funny.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
He also has an abnormally thick stomach and intestinal lining.
I would certainly hope so.
And
He's gonna need a little help with that.
I didn't read that much further, so all I wrote was, it's all good? Like, it's fine for him to be eating an airplane and stuff?
Like, is he chewing it? Are his teeth strong? Like, okay. Is it just that his digestive system can handle these things, unlike normal digestive systems because of his stomach and intestines? Or, like, can he chew this stuff? Is pooping it okay? Like, is he masticating this properly? Do you know? What's going on with Monsieur Longitude?
Well, for more information,
How did he discover this?
let's go to our colleague in the field. Monsieur Longitude, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Come in. Monsieur Longitude. He ate the microphone. All right. Well, I guess we're just going to have to finish the broadcast ourselves.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have answers to those questions. I'm assuming it's all good. Again,
I guess. I mean,
it's one thing to be doing weird stuff like eating a plunger for the
Yeah.
rubber and wood.
oh my
It's
God.
another
eating a
thing.
plunger, like the wood. Oh.
It's another thing to be eating an entire airplane over the course of 2 years and find out, I can't poop. So I'm assuming.
I mean, he must.
Monsieur Longitude, I'm sure he's got it under control.
He must be chewing it properly.
He
then.
must know what he's doing. I'm going to trust that Monsieur Longitude knows how to get it done.
I guess he must. Wow. I guess I'll leave Monsieur Longitude to it. I guess I got to trust him on this one. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Now, 2 other things.
Yeah.
The future of mankind
Oh, okay.
might be superpowers. Have you heard of CRISPR?
No, what's that?
CRISPR. No, it's not the next hot
Potato chip?
potato chip. No, it's not the next hot social network. Are you on CRISPR?
Crispin Glovin's
Not
social...
the next
I mean,
hot-
Crispin Glover's social network?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
CRISPR.
Yeah.
You can meet Crispin Glovers in your area. Swipe right.
Yeah. Big time.
Your density has popped you to my website. Welcome to CRISPR.
You can meet him up for a milk chocolate.
Yeah. You know, like old shows, this is so not anything. Like in old shows they used to show in the 90s, people would like go on the internet, they'd open a thing, and it would pop up on the screen, and there would just be like a video of a person being like, hello,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
are you? They're like,
Yeah.
why aren't websites like that?
Welcome.
If you go to gttupod.com. It should be your head,
Yeah.
like framed perfectly as if you're chatting
Right.
on Facebook. And you're like, greetings.
Yeah.
Welcome to my website. Come inside. Please come in.
I'm welcoming
Remember
you
you
into
used to have to
my
go to
home.
websites and you'd go there and it would be like, welcome to the blah, blah, blah website. Enter.
Oh,
You'd have
yeah.
to click the word enter to get in. So it's
Yeah.
like they built a
That's
door.
right.
They then had to get in.
Right. That's weird.
Old internet was the best
I
internet.
know. It was sweet.
Anyway, that's what CRISPR is like.
Yeah.
So, with this actual CRISPR, it's a gene editing thing, whatever. They might be able to give you this stuff someday. They might be able to build somebody with unbreakable bones. All of the strengths, none of the weaknesses, right?
Ooh, so I could still swim.
Still swim. If you had a coupon, you get a Groupon to CRISPR, whatever.
Yeah.
What gene editing do you want? What superpowers do you want?
I don't want to mess around too much.
No?
It seems dangerous to me.
Huh.
Too new. If this was established technology that has been around for like a long time and we've tested and everything, I don't think I'm messing around with CRISPR.
Yeah,
to tell
I
you the
would
truth.
let people. I didn't get an iPad 1. I waited until they
Exactly.
figured it out. I got the one with the cameras and stuff.
I get the S version of every phone. Let's just say that.
Exactly.
I'm gonna let them work out the kinks.
So I'll say this: they worked out the kinks. It's perfect. What do you want?
That color thing.
Color thing?
If I don't already have it, I want to
yeah.
see 100 million colors.
Yeah, but I think it's like gradients of colors. You're not going to get to see some cool new color the rest of us don't get to see.
I know, but still, if I'm already this dazzled by the friggin' Philips Hue thing you gave me, can you imagine the shadow and light play that would take place if I had that?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Okay.
I mean, look, I'm not that active. I'm not breaking any bones. I've never broken a bone. I'm a sedentary
that's
gal.
weird. Yeah. Hey, we know that I don't have the unbreakable disease.
True.
Yeah.
True. So yeah, right. We've tested that. There's some
My
things we
arms.
still
I've had a
don't know.
broken arm before.
That's right.
Rest of it is out to lunch. Maybe I should be eating, everything around me. Maybe
Yeah.
I
Why don't
should
you
eat this table,
Let's
see what
try
happens to me.
chomping down on this can of salt?
Maybe I could be the American Monjour Mongitude.
You could be like some like Gallagher 2-esque ripoff.
Yeah.
That name is a showman's name. I think you
Yes.
should stay with the Monjour Mongitude brand.
Yes, I
but
think
let's
so
just bring
too.
it stateside.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100.
The new Monjour Mongitude.
That's right.
Monjour.
Monjour Mongitude. And I'm trying to think. So I could have unbreakable bones, see crazy things. What else was there?
Perfect
I don't-
recall.
No way.
Need to sleep only 4 hours. That's perfect. That's all you need.
I would take that.
Yeah, I would take that in a heartbeat.
I would take that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, if it's well tested.
Sleep's a waste of time.
I mean, I like it because I need it. I'm not a napper or anything
Yeah.
like that. I kind of wish I was. No, I would take the 4-hour sleep thing.
There are other mutations too. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a particular family that like does not get cancer.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? Like there's like
I'm sure there are all
these.
kinds of little things.
Yeah, 100%.
Like
Yeah,
Henrietta Lacks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Lives forever.
Mhm.
Yeah. But there you go. Those
Yeah.
are
Well,
some
wait, what would you get? Would you only take for the 4-hour sleep thing? What would you do?
4 hours of sleep a night is plenty. I
Mm-hmm.
like that. But I like lounging.
Yeah.
Doesn't
I
mean
would
that I'm
still,
not going to lounge.
Look, part of the reason I've never broken a bone wheel is because I love to lounge.
Yeah,
I lie
exactly.
around in bed all the time. I'll still
That's
do that.
wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. So I want that.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want perfect recall.
Okay.
It'd be nice to not have breakable bones.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm constantly living in fear of my bones breaking.
True. And again,
But
if
while
we're
they're
in
in there,
if we're in a perfect world where the bugs have been ironed out, and
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
then yeah, I'll take.
I'm
Breakable
not going swimming anytime soon either.
take
so I
unbreakable
don't care.
bones.
Yeah, give me unbreakable bones
Yeah,
too.
sure.
As
Sure.
long
If
as
we
you're-
know that this is all fine in that world, yeah.
as long as you're fooling around under the hood,
Yeah, exactly.
toss that in.
May as well.
Yeah,
All right, cool.
there it is. Superheroes in real life, superhumans.
Yeah.
So maybe in the next, maybe
Mm-hmm.
the post credits of Glass
Oh.
is like they're like, well, what a crazy battle that was. I can't believe we survived. I hope nothing bad happens next. What's that sound? It's at the door. The hole opens in the door, the center of the door. Monsieur Mongitude.
and he eats the camera. Like that's the closing shot where you're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, he's like a dinosaur. Then
Yeah.
that means the
Yeah.
next movie is like Jurassic Park. where they're
Yeah.
running from Monsieur Mongitude, who just wants to eat them.
Monsieur Mongitude.
Monsieur Mongitude. And it's also comic booky because David Dunn, alliteration. Kevin Crumb from Split, or alliteration, intentionally by M. Night Shyamalan. Monsieur Mongitude.
Exactly. Oh my God, it fits perfectly.
Perfect comic book name.
I think you need to get in touch with M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night.
Call me, baby.
Yeah, you have to call me.
Yeah, I'm not going to reach out to you.
No, I'm busy. Very excited for that movie.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm pumped about it.
I'll probably see it in the morning on Sunday. Okay.
There you go.
Meh, 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 meh. All right. This is not topical, Will. This is about a Celebrity Ghost Stories episode from 2009.
But what celebrity?
Jeffrey Ross.
The Roastmaster General?
Now think back to the texts that I sent you earlier today. Think. Use your powers.
Yeah, I
Put the
would use
pieces
my
together.
powers. What did you say to me?
Okay. Tell the people.
All right.
I planted some clues in Will's head earlier.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. Oh, no. Did we not text that much?
What?
Okay. What rhymes with ghost? Roast. That is your clue. And then you wrote Ghostmaster General.
Uh-huh.
You know what? In retrospect, having seen also like an M. Night Shyamalan movie,
Yeah.
the twist is that it was right in front of my face
That's
the whole
what I'm
time.
saying. Jeffrey Ross is the Roastmaster General.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you're right, you're right.
That's right. Okay, he has a great celebrity horror story. So this is, or celebrity ghost story. This was one of the first episodes of Celebrity Ghost Stories I ever saw. And I love this show both genuinely and ironically, depending on the celebrity talking, basically. And a lot of them are like hokey, or you kind of don't buy it, or you're like, I don't know. Sometimes it's not usually like super scary, basically.
Right. It's not the point of the show to be scary necessarily. It's just to tell their stories.
Yeah,
so
just
some
fun
some are
stories.
successful, some are not
Right.
so much.
It's like
Yeah.
cozy, scary, plus the added novelty of being like, oh my God, it's Lisa Rinna talking to me about this.
Yeah.
This is so weird, which was in the Jeffrey Ross episode. So if you want to check this out, it is season 1, episode 5 of Celebrity Ghost Stories. And when I watched it the first time, like however many years ago, I was like, that is a freaky story. I remember telling it to you, just like in life or whatever, because it's a really good story. He sells it like crazy.
Huh.
Like he seems very genuine. I don't have really any feelings about Jeff Ross in general.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of roasts. It's like a kind of humor I don't really like.
Yeah.
So in that way, I guess you could say.
Yeah, they're just like, and David Spade is here.
Yeah, it's just like not for me.
David Spade, I love you. I'm just kidding. You're a piece of crap.
Yeah, right. Not for me. And I know that he's
Got ya. All right.
super. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like his thing. So I've never been like, oh, I can't wait to see Jeffrey Ross on something because I associate with him roast, which is like
Yeah.
not my
Pork
jam.
pie hats and roasts.
Yes.
Pork roast.
Oh. So, but William, I really learned some things today. I got surprised.
Yeah.
First of all, I didn't learn this. I knew from having the memory of that episode that I was like, wow, Jeffrey Ross tells a good ghost story. And I found him very compelling and very believable. And I was like, I just believed this guy. Then, when I was doing research for the show, I decided to Google Jeffrey Ross ghost story to see if he's told it again anywhere or if just anything. And it turns out he has a podcast called Thick Skin with Jeff Ross. And he had on one of the guys from last podcast on the left on the show because Jeff Ross co-hosts his show with his cousin, who's one of his best friends, I guess.
Okay.
And that guy's name is Ed. And Ed is like very good friends with one of the hosts of last podcast on the left.
Okay.
So they had that guy on the show. And because that's a spooky show, he decided to tell this ghost story.
Yeah.
And I got some new angles on this ghost story that he didn't tell on Celebrity Horror or Celebrity
Sweet. Okay.
Ghost Stories.
Yeah.
That colored it. And it turns out I really like Jeff Ross. He seems like a very nice guy, even when he's being loose on his own show. For a Roastmaster General, he's like not like a loud, like crazy comic kind of guy. He seriously was just like, it seemed genuinely conversational. Like, you know, a lot of comedy podcasts are having conversation, but it still seems very on, and
Yeah.
rightly so, and it's fun and everything. But like, he just seemed like kind of chill and laid back. And he ended the show saying, what was it? He said something really nice. He said, be nice to each other. He just seemed very nice
That's
and
great.
chill.
Yeah. I support that message.
Me too. So this was great for me because I've been clanking this story around in my head for years, and I got to learn something new, and I'm going to pass those learning those new things, whatever, onto you guys. So here is the story. So Jeffrey Ross moved to LA, and his comedy career is like really getting going. He started doing really well, and he moved into this building. So on the show, he basically just says, like, I moved into this building and I went out on the balcony and I looked across and I saw this guy who was in the apartment directly across from me, like dancing around naked in there to music. It was like very weird. But then in the podcast, he filled it in a little bit more. It wasn't on Celebrity Horror Stories. I keep saying that because that's the blog thing that I have.
Okay.
Celebrity Ghost Stories is the show.
Right.
He said that he actually had viewed that very apartment that this guy was in, but the landlord disclosed to him that the previous tenant had killed himself in the apartment.
Oh.
So Jeffrey Ross didn't want it. It like creeped him out. And he says, but he really, really needed to move out because he was living on Idina Menzel's couch. Unlikely friendship. You know who that is? That's Adele Dazeem.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Listen, I know her as Adele Dazeem, so thank you for saying that. Yeah, I love it when you hear celebrities refer to odd other celebrities in
Me
a
too.
completely familiar way.
So off the bat, I knew listening to this podcast was the right move. I had
Right.
left my phone in the other room and I had my wireless headphones in. I was cleaning. And I was like, well, I kept having to go back to get my phone to like write down notes because I was like, I'm learning so
Yeah.
much. So he had to stop crashing on Idina Menzel, Broadway star's couch.
And for people who don't know who she is, she's wickedly talented.
Oh my God.
What happened? Do I have something I need to censor?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Well, okay, we can go. We'll return to the tape.
Guys, excuse me.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll
I really enjoy that Adele Dazeem thing in it.
Who?
Did I joke about putting a little boogie in it in the beginning of the show? Was that the thing I said?
Maybe.
Did I say I'm going to put boogie in your noogie? Well, guess what? A little boogie just I could have just made a tissue dance.
You know, a lot of people are doing this floss dance. Kristen's been doing the tissue dance.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh God. Okay.
I'm gonna cut that out.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. I'll
Sorry to the live people.
spare you.
I'm curious if that. Anyway,
We'll have to go back and
we'll
look.
have to look at the tape.
And who is this Adele Dazeem? Well, I'll tell you one thing. She's wickedly talented. Back to you, Nick.
Anyway, so yeah, he's living on Adele Dazeem's couch and needs to get an apartment. So he asked if there were any other apartments available in the same building. The guy was like, yeah, there's one right across the way.
So now I'm just picturing a naked man, just like.
I think that's what was going on. On Celebrity Ghost Stories, they obviously don't show it, but like they basically just have a guy being like, what? Yeah.
Oh no! That's a hell of a ghost. Is that a ghost?
Well, it gets tragic. It's not a ghost
Oh.
yet. So.
Oh, yet.
Yeah.
Well, we're all not ghosts yet.
True. He becomes a ghost in this story.
Oh no.
I know, it's kind of a sad story. That was the other interesting thing on the podcast. And again, he just seemed very genuine. Like, so the last podcast on the left guy was on the show, and I didn't listen to the whole thing. I kind of fast forwarded until I found the part where he's telling the ghost story. But I guess his cousin maybe or somebody was like, oh, like you have a ghost story, and Jeffrey Ross is like, I don't know if I want to tell that. It's like depressing and like it's just like a real bummer thing.
Oh my God.
And he
okay.
seemed to mean it. Like I don't know. I just really get a very authentic vibe from this whole story.
Huh, okay.
So you guys can check it out. Like I said, it's Celebrity Ghost Stories episode 5 of season 1, and the podcast is called Thick Skin with Jeff Ross. The episode is titled Jeff's Ghost Story, and it came out in March of 2018, that episode. So, so he moves into an apartment that is directly across from the one that he had seen, where the landlord said that somebody had committed suicide here, or somebody who had died by suicide here. He's like, you know, you could have the same view and everything, because it was an apartment building that was like in a curve, and there's like a pool in the middle and like an area to hang out with like lots of balconies. He's like, so you can have the same basic thing, but just another apartment. So he decided to take that. And not long after he moved in, this guy or somebody ended up moving into that apartment that he had seen. Like Jeffrey Ross was outside on his balcony, and he noticed that this guy had moved in. I don't know if the naked dancing was the first instance of him seeing this guy. I'm not sure. It could have been.
Yeah.
But he saw that this guy moved into the apartment. So then he was in the elevator sometime after that, and the guy came in the elevator, and they said hello and chatted or whatever, and Jeffrey Ross was like, you know, like, you know about that apartment, because I guess in California they have to disclose. He was like, you know that somebody killed themselves in that apartment, right? And the guy was like, yeah. And he's like, I'm not too concerned about that. And there's like a break on the rent for it or whatever. And Jeffrey Ross was like, all right. And he's like, so what do you do? They're chatting, and the guy was like, oh, I'm an actor. And Jeffrey Ross said that he was wearing like clothes like a waiter. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like a waiter, and had like a tag and stuff. So like all tracked. He's an actor, and he's like trying to make it happen. He's waiting tables kind of in the meantime. So he got used to seeing this guy, because I guess he was out in his balcony a lot, Jeffrey Ross. He got used to seeing this guy often, because it's just like right in his eye line. So he'd either see him doing normal things, like they would just wave to each other and it like wouldn't be a big deal. There was more naked dancing, just like dancing around and stuff. But he noticed that he always seemed to be alone, this guy. He like was home a lot, like almost all the time when Jeffrey Ross would go out to his balcony, that guy was almost always there. And he was just like always by himself. And in contrast, Jeffrey Ross was like getting a lot of jobs. His career was really popping off. He got a job writing for the Oscars that Billy Crystal hosted. He was writing, or maybe he wasn't writing for the Man Show yet. Maybe that came later, but it comes into play a little bit. But his career is really taking off. He's doing a lot of really cool things and really cool gigs and things like that. And this guy who's a struggling actor is like home all the time and by himself all the time. And he was just kind of aware of that contrast and felt bad for the guy. It made him sad. So he said that there was one night he remembered in particular was the night of the Oscars that he wrote for Billy Crystal. And he got to go to the Oscars, and he was backstage. He got to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger. He got to meet Robin Williams. It was like this crazy big deal, like milestone night for him. And he came home that night, and he brought home this smoking redhead who was Billy Crystal's makeup artist. She like came home with him.
Who was actually Billy Crystal? What?
And they went outside on the balcony, and that guy, and his name was Rob, or at least that's what he said. Maybe it was an alias, but let's say the guy's name is Rob. And Rob was on his balcony in the same spot he had been 8 hours before when Jeffrey Ross had left for the Oscars. And he was just like, man, like, you know, it was just sad. And he's having this big night where he's dressed up as like a hot, glamorous girl. And it's just like a big contrast. And he kind of felt bad. Like he didn't want to be like showing off in front of him almost or something. And so he said he was just like very aware that he was out there like really living his life and getting his dreams. And this guy really wasn't. So then Jeff Ross goes out on the road for a while, like touring, and he was gone for weeks. And when he came home, he said that there was this weird vibe in his apartment building. Like people just really weren't out and about. Like he said the pool wasn't like a place where it was usually like popping off like crazy, but people would be walking around and doing stuff. Yeah. He said it just seemed like it was like a ghost town. So he went to the doorman, like, what's the deal? Is everybody on vacation, or is it some like holiday I don't know about, or something like a religious holiday that I don't know about? And the doorman was like, you didn't hear? And he said, no. It turned out that Rob had jumped off his balcony and killed himself. And so he just says that on the TV show, and on the podcast he goes into a little bit more detail. Not gory detail, but I'm still just going to leave a little bit of it out. You can look if you want. But I just thought this was significant / interesting. When it happened, so I think this is the reason it was such a ghost town. It probably would be anyway, but when it happened, it was early in the morning that this happened with the guy. It was like 9 a.m. and like people were trying to talk him out of it and stuff. Like people knew he was hanging up there. So like people who live in the building, like it was like in a like something like it was very, people knew, you know what I mean? Like there were people around, and then he did it like in front of everybody. So he said that, you know, he was like really like horrified and like upset to hear it and everything. He said part of him was like, you know, selfishly a little glad that he had missed it, because it sounds like it was like devastating and like really, really upsetting. Yeah. And he stopped going out on the balcony as much. This part gets a little confusing to me. There's a little bit of contrast. He said in the show that he kind of stopped going out on the balcony because he just connected the balcony so much with Rob, because it was just right in his eye line.
He constantly saw the guy. He was always aware of him from there. I get that. Yeah.
Right. But then on the podcast, I think it was just like, I don't know, it might have been something I misunderstood. I don't even get from this discrepancy that it means this story isn't real or anything like that, but it was just like, it's a little different. He said that he was finding things on his balcony in a little bit of the time that leads up to this one big night that I'm going to talk about where stuff really went down. He said that he was finding like just like random stuff, like nothing crazy, but just like dust bunnies and leaves and stuff that would be on the ground. They were up on his balcony, and he was like, how the hell did these things get here? It doesn't make any sense. And what he said when he was telling that part of it, he was saying in the context of the fact that weird things started happening in his apartment, like nothing super significant just yet, but it's like little things moving. He didn't really elaborate as to what, but it didn't sound like it was major, like things like crazy moving, but just like he just had the sense that like things were like off.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he said, because when he was telling it, again, I actually encourage you guys to listen to it. I found it really good, and it's a good ghost story, and it was very kind of affecting. He seemed like really moved by it. He's kind of like when you're excited telling a story and you're kind of all over the place. Like he was like, I don't know, things are moving, the ceiling, something was happening, I don't know, like whatever. So just strange things were happening in the apartment. If you watch the episode of Celebrity Ghost Stories, it seems like nothing happened and then all of a sudden it happened. But during the podcast, he fills it in a little bit. So it seems like there was a little bit of strangeness going on. And he said in the podcast that, like, he talked about it at work. Like, it was really freaking him out. And he was a writer on The Man Show at the time.
Okay.
And he said that he was talking about it at work, and they were making fun of him like crazy. He was like, yeah, I mean, you know, like, ghost rhymes with roast, so they're, like, giving me crap. And he said that they tried to sneak Jimmy Kimmel's Uncle Frank into his apartment, into the closet, to pop out and scare him, but the doorman wouldn't let them in. Because they thought he was just, like, ridiculous for saying that there was a ghost.
That's pretty funny.
Is that funny?
That's pretty funny. So wait, was he was already a roast master at this time?
I guess. I don't know if he was maybe the roast master, but he was roasting.
Man, okay. All right.
I think he was like the go-to roast guy, and that's part of how he got a reputation. I don't know a whole lot about the trajectory of Jeff Ross's career.
Yeah.
But definitely it was like him becoming the roast master was born out of him being a good roaster.
He already, yeah.
So maybe he even got the job on The Man Show because he was known for being a comic at roasts. So he was like...
It's so funny that roasting to me was always a thing that, like, you know, I don't know, old people did, like Bing Crosby.
Well, yeah, because it used to be at like the Friars Club,
right?
Where you'd have a special jacket.
And then it was kind of fun when Comedy Central started doing it, and then I was like, oh, they keep trying to do this.
Well, it got
and then
so
I see
weird.
people roasting each other on the internet. I'm like, why are young people talking about roasting each other? I don't know.
What?
Yeah, it's like modern slang to roast someone.
Oh my God, weird.
Yeah.
Well, I think it started getting weird when they started. It was one thing was like comedians roasting each other, like we're all friends, we're all zinging each other.
Yeah.
But then when there's like the roast of Justin Bieber, like what's going on?
Oh, wait, why are we roasting?
We're just roasting like people now. You know what I mean? It's strange.
Right.
But maybe it's the evolution of roasting.
I guess,
just don't understand it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this is the big event that he talks about on Celebrity Ghost Stories. This is his Celebrity Ghost Story. So weeks later, I think after Rob died and kind of all these things are happening, he was in bed and starting to fall asleep, I guess, and he just started to feel like somebody was in his room. He just had the sense of a presence, that thing that people talk about that you can't explain, but you just have a sense of it.
Right.
It's such a small detail, but it freaked me out a little bit. He said that his eyes were closed, but he felt the room get darker in front of his eyes. Like that to me is like if somebody passed in front of you.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Isn't that? It was just a one sentence thing, but I was like, bleh.
Yeah.
He didn't say this on the show. He says this on the podcast, but he says that he felt like he was paralyzed, like he was pinned down. So almost like it, but he wasn't asleep. It wasn't like sleep paralysis, but he just felt paralyzed. And he said he felt like it was a tortured soul. It didn't feel like just a regular ghost or whatever. It felt like something that was messed up and upset and like just something that was really depressed and tortured. And like it was just messing with him. Like this is somebody who's like not happy with him. And he also described, which I thought this was interesting and unusual that you don't really hear in ghost stories. He said that he sensed like a thickness in the air, but then the thing that's unusual to me is that he said like there was body heat. Like you usually hear about cold spots or something, but he just felt like there was like a presence of something. And he was trying to ignore it and think he was just, you know, being crazy or whatever. And he did fall asleep, but he said he slept like crap. He just kept waking up. He was like sleeping with one eye open. He just felt super uneasy.
I don't know how you'd sleep in the first place. If you experienced any of that, I'd be...
I think if you're not somebody who like right off the bat believes in that stuff, I would think that you'd be in such denial. I mean, I think I'd be in denial. I think I'd be like, I'm being crazy. I just got to try to go to sleep or something.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know?
Yeah.
So he said that he then wakes up at like 3 or 4 in the morning to the sound of like a voice howling. So it turned out to not be an actual voice, but he does the voice in the show and it sounds jokey, but like it's freaky when he's doing it. Like somebody doing howling like, "Whoa," or whatever.
Yeah.
It ends up that this was another thing that I was a little bit confused about between the show Celebrity Ghost Stories and the podcast. It had something to do with like crazy wind coming through his balcony door that sounded really insane. He did say it sounded like unnatural and like weird. And in the podcast, he said that had been happening a little bit during those weeks.
Okay, yeah.
So just stuff with the balcony in and out confuses me a little bit. But in the show, he's like, why would that noise be coming from the balcony door? Like, I haven't been out there in, like, weeks. Now that I think about it, maybe this takes place over a longer time, and before this event happened, he hadn't gone out in weeks. That makes more sense.
Maybe, yeah.
Anyway, but he says, I haven't opened that door in weeks. Like, why would there be any room for the wind to be, like, howling through it? And then there's a loud, like, bam from the living room. And he's just listening, like, what? And he says, another bam. And then again, the way he described it, I found it really freaky and effective and stuff. He said it was almost as if you're like, inhale, bam, bam. Like, it was just like this rhythm, like you're inhaling, exhale, bam, inhale, exhale, bam. It's just like going. And he was totally freaked out. He said he was like trembling. But he went out to the living room to see, and it was this big picture. He said on the podcast, it was like a big picture of John Lennon that he had that was lifting up from the wall and then dropping, bam, slamming back down against it. And it started just doing it over and over, and it's just going bam, bam, bam while he's watching. And he said that he was like, am I crazy? Am I dreaming? He started like grabbing at his body and his legs, being like, am I awake? Like, what the hell is happening? And then he said, like a little kid, he ran back into his room, put the covers on himself, and he's just in the fetal position, just freaked out. He's like, did not know what to do.
Yeah.
His phone was in the other room. He said he wanted to like call somebody or something because he was so scared, but his phone was in the other room and he didn't want to go in there again. So he said he stayed like that for like an hour or two and still just bam, bam, going over and over again. And then finally he kind of just snapped. Like, he realized, like, I have to do something. This is not stopping. And he had the sense that this guy wants to be recognized. Like, this guy wants to be seen. So he said he couldn't believe what he was doing, but he gathered up his courage and he walked out to the balcony, and he walked right past the picture still doing its thing, which freaks me out.
He's like a man possessed, like a man on a mission.
Right, and also you're just like, well, this is like, it's so weird.
It's a fact now.
Exactly. This is still just happening.
Right.
There's no need for me to even acknowledge
Yes.
it. Like, I'm just going to breeze right past
That is what it is.
So he went out to the balcony, and he said that he just started talking, like, to the guy like he was there. He was like, why are you doing this to me? What did I do to you? You are scaring the hell out of me, man. Like, can you please stop? You're really scaring me. I'm so sorry that, like, bad things happen to you. And kindly, I might not be doing it, but, like, I'm so sorry that bad things happen to you and everything. But, like, please don't do this to me. Like, you're really freaking me out or whatever. And then the noise calmed down. It stopped. And he just felt like it was kind of peaceful. Like, he just had the feeling like, okay, like, this is okay now. It's over. And he kept talking, but calmly now. He's just like, I'm sorry this happened to you.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. And he said that he was sorry for what Rob went through. He was sorry that he jumped. He was sorry that he went through agony. And he said, I'll remember you. Like, I'll always remember you. I'm sorry. And, I'm messing this up a little bit. He said all that. Like, things calmed down. He started talking calmly. And then after he said, I'll remember you, he said then he felt like it was peaceful. Like, things kind of, like, chilled out a little bit. And then he didn't say this on the show, but he said it on the podcast. And I don't know why they didn't keep this in the show. I imagine he probably said it, but they edited it. He said he was so relieved and, like, tired and whatever. He went to his humidor, which is like a fancy cigar thing, and got out a cigar for himself. He was going to sit on the balcony then, like, we got through this, and smoke. He got another cigar, and he threw that off the balcony, like, for the guy, basically, and smoked a cigar and just hung out there. And that's kind of the end of the story. And he said that things didn't happen after that.
He didn't mention whether or not he had any other experiences like that.
I don't think he did. And he said that he saw the guy's mom in the apartment, like, in the next week or something like that, like, going to clean out or whatever. And he went over there, and he was like, I'd met your son, and, you know, I'm so sorry, and just whatever, and just kind of talked to her a little bit. But that's nice. Yeah, and that he just had no other events, no other interaction. And again, he sounded really genuine. Like, it sounds like the kind of thing where you could easily tie this up in a bow, and it's like, this makes it a complete story. But he said that he wondered to himself, he said this in the show, he wondered to himself, like, why didn't he haunt the producer who, like, lived above me? Why is he haunting the stripper down the hall or whatever? And he said that he wonders, or he kind of inferred that he was out there, like, his career was taking off, and he was being cocky, he's being jokey, he's doing all these things,
right.
He's bringing home this lady, it's all, like, fun and games or whatever. And maybe he was kind of taking it for granted. Like, maybe he wasn't really appreciating what he had, and this guy was, like, trying to work for something, and he didn't you know, get anything at all or whatever.
Sure.
And he said he kind of like wonders, you know, what may have happened, how things may have progressed if he didn't get that wake up call. Maybe it sounds like it was genuinely like a poignant thing for this guy. And he said that he actually like he feels like this was a great gift, and it made him realize that he was like one of the lucky ones who got to make it.
Yeah.
And he said that it's changed him. He feels like he like is much more appreciative and like grounded after it. I think he said like in the show he says that he bought like a convertible Porsche because he was like making money. I think in the podcast I think he said he sold the Porsche. He like moved into a house that was like less flashy and stuff like that. It just gave him a different view of like all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting.
That's wild. I really I don't know. That's a very interesting story. I'm gonna have to listen to that podcast.
It was good. I honestly might go back and listen to the parts I fast forwarded just because I wanted to make sure I had everything in time for the show. But like, he seemed really nice.
It took a few
and like thoughtful.
Yeah, it took a few turns that I absolutely was not anticipating.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that it feels like just like residual like jealousy and resentment. You know what I mean? Like I guess there's like a way that sometimes people talk about the idea of ghosts as not being like you die and then you stick around.
Yeah.
Like you.
Right.
Being like, oh well, I'm a ghost now, I'll go over there and talk to that guy. But rather that like your emotions are imprinted on
like parts of your
surroundings.
consciousness. Yeah.
And like I wonder if that guy was living in such misery that like there's just an imprint of this emotion of just this like sadness and anger and bitterness and jealousy, and it's not even that it's consciously pointing itself at Jeff Ross. It's just like that's one of the targets. That's one of the things that created me. Created this resentment.
Or maybe it was pointing itself toward Jeff Ross because the same way that Jeff Ross was looking across the courtyard into his apartment and being like, oh, I feel kind of bad for this guy. Maybe that guy was looking over into Jeff Ross's apartment being like, this guy's got the life.
Well,
man.
exactly.
Like, this
That's
is what
I mean.
want.
So like it came over.
Yeah, right.
That's really wild.
Yeah.
That's a really wild story.
Right?
That's one of those stories that like makes me want to believe.
It's really convincing. His storytelling.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's very convincing. I really recommend watching that episode and or listening to the podcast.
Yeah, I think I will.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. That's very different.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Who would have thought? I remember when I watched it however long ago, I was just like watching my fun celebrity ghost stories and I was like, whoa. That's why I remembered it however many years later.
Sure. Yeah. Also, that is another M. Night Shyamalan connection, The Sixth Sense, that maybe these ghosts just want you to talk to them. They need someone to listen to them and acknowledge them, and then they can move on. Like,
totally.
As much as that's a ridiculous thing to say, like, that's what happens in that movie, and that's kind of what Jeff Ross did.
Exactly. And that acknowledgement for that guy is kind of twofold because maybe he wanted to be acknowledged as a ghost for whatever reason. Some ghosts want to be acknowledged. Plus, in life, he was looking to be acknowledged. He wanted to be an actor and be seen and stuff, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, and yet here's Jeff Ross saying that he'll remember him. It's very sweet. Even if you don't believe
like it's sad, but like kind of nice.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that like even if you don't believe it, like Rosemary's Baby, the whole idea of like maybe they're not witches, but they think they are, so that makes them dangerous.
Yeah.
Even if none of that actually happened that way, and you know, if we could be an objective third party, maybe there was just a weird breeze that was making the painting move or something like that, or maybe it didn't happen at all. Either way, he seems to believe that it did, and his response to it was very warm and human and positive. So
totally, and it was like formative for him.
Yeah, exactly. So it's real to him, you know, even if it's not real objectively. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
There were also times while you were talking where it did that like chill up your spine. Oh.
I know, it's a freaky story.
Yeah, it's the best of all ghosts.
Yeah.
It's got all the ghost elements.
And even just the way he described it is really good. Like him saying that it was like as if somebody was exhaling and then bam, exhale.
Yeah, it's
or
wild.
Inhale, bam. And I was like, he can spin a yarn.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, guys.
All right, well here we are.
Here we are.
Oh, you know,
that's it.
some people theorize that in the movie Glass there will be a connection to The Sixth Sense. The Sixth Sense movie, that's also a superpower, right? Only some people get to talk to ghosts. I'm one of those people who thinks that.
Interesting.
I don't know if it'll be Haley Joel Osment.
Is there any Is that just a straight up theory? Is there any?
It's a theory. I don't think there's any reason that you should think that's actually going to happen.
There have been any clues that leads to that or anything?
No, it just feels. It just
Interesting.
feels right.
Feels like it could.
Feels like it could.
Except, wait, what happens in that? Oh, he's dead the whole time. Okay, never mind.
Well, that's also a misnomer. He's alive part of the time.
Well, okay.
In that
all
movie.
right,
He's
all
alive for a few minutes.
right. Okay.
People have been lying to me. Cool. All right.
Yeah, that's it.
We're at the end
Man,
of
I
another
can't wait to see
episode
Glass.
of Guide to the Unknown. Thank you all so
Yeah.
much for hanging out with us. That was really great.
I
What
know.
yeah.
Yeah, what a wackadoodle episode.
Yeah,
this
for
is a
sure.
really good one.
It was great.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. If you enjoyed this show, please go consider telling your friends, your family, your coworkers, even your most bitter enemies about us. Anything to get the word out there.
Right.
Spread the love.
It'll unite you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also follow at GTTU Pod to keep up with us and spooky goings on from the world. Kristen shares amazing stories throughout the week.
Yeah, it's cool.
Which is like one of my primary news sources.
Thank you.
You can go check us out on Patreon. That's patreon.com/GTTUpod if you want to donate, give back something. And join our secret Facebook group as well.
Yeah, if you go to facebook.com/groups/GTTUpod, you can find it there.
We've gotten many new members in the past week.
It's been great. The
It's
Facebook
great.
group rules.
Yeah. So, absolutely does.
Yeah.
And yeah, I believe that's everything.
I think so.
Is there anything that I'm forgetting?
You can follow us personally. William is at Haunted Sponge.
Yeah, I am.
I'm at Chillin' Kristen on Instagram.
Yeah, but that's not quite it. I feel like there's something that
What are you doing?
forgetting.
What are you doing?
Oh, I know. One person in Alaska listened to us.
Oh, yeah. That's right. We got to 18.
We got to 18.
Yep. Thank you so much, Alaskan.
All-time listens, Alaska, 18.
Yep.
People who listen to the last episode know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
It made me think, though, because we got several emails from people and stuff that are like, I'm from Alaska, I listened to it. I listened to it when I was on vacation there.
I know.
Makes me wonder if our stats are getting lost in the Alaska Triangle.
Ooh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the vile vertices.
Also makes me wonder about all our stats in general then.
Let's not think about it too much.
I don't really care that much. But yeah, our stat only went up to 18.
Yeah. Well, I mean, seriously, there's only one person in Alaska who tuned in.
Sure.
'Cause
What
I
a
think-
waste of time.
I don't think that we got any letters from anybody who lives in Alaska. It was somebody who's like from Alaska, like they had moved from Alaska, and they were like, "Oh, do I count?" Like they were joking, being
Right.
Like, "Oh, I count."
No, well, there were a couple other things.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but anyway, that was the update.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next week, everybody.
Yep.
Be good to each other.
Yeah. Be nice to each other.
And until next time,
yeah.
we must travel.
Back to the netherworld. Go we. Seeing isn't one of my superpowers. My glasses. I don't know what I was gonna say.
That's great. It doesn't matter.
That's enough.
It doesn't matter. We made it
Yeah.
through. Bingo,
guys.
everybody. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you all for hanging out with us. If you didn't catch all of it, it's all going to be out on
Yep.
Friday
Yep.
on everything.
In October.
Hey. Yeah. What's
Cool.
going on out here?
I think I said hi to everybody else
I think
who's
we're
here,
good.
maybe.
Yeah, it seems like a couple
If I
things
didn't
may
say
have
hi to
gone
you, I
through fluid,
apologize.
but I
Yeah.
think we're fine.
Okay.
All right,
we gotta
everybody.
See if that booger.
Oh yeah.
Red on camera.
Yeah, check the booger cam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where.
Hey,
that...
did you guys see that? Could you tell that there was a booger?
I don't think they would have known without you
Probably
saying
not.
it. Right? I don't think I'm gonna be able to scrub through to
Yeah.
find it now.
I'm trying to remember what we were talking about. I think we were talking about Longitude. I think it was early on.
Oh, I forgot that was that was just a little while ago. Bonjour.
I don't really ran the gamut.
Bonjour, longitude. Oh my God.
Oh God.
Yeah.
you, Drew.
We try to do a live episode of the show every Wednesday. We always try to record the show live.
Yeah, and if we have to reschedule it, we post it on our social media.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Exactly.
No boogers? All right, great. No boogie in your noogie? Excellent.
Perfect.
That's so weird that I said that. That's so weird that I said that just as is. That's a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
It's awfully strange that then I boogered on camera.
Well, you're a strange person.
Oh, yeah.
All right, everybody. I
Yeah.
think we're gonna split
Yep.
now, like a couple of bananas.
Split like the movie. Hopefully not.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Bye,
We'll
guys.
catch you next time. Everybody have a good rest of your night.
Yep.
All right.
All
Bye,
right,
everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.